Welcome to Dad Rocks, a podcast for dads who love music, made by dads who love music.
Hello and welcome to Dad Rocks, the podcast about being a dad and loving music and how the two intersect in our lives. I'm your host Josh, and today my guest is Cody Dickinson. Cody is most well known for being the drummer of the band North Mississippi Allstars, which he co-founded with his brother Luther. But he's also a member of the bands The Word, Hill Country Review, as well as being a solo artist. And he's also one of the co-creators of the Take Me to the River film series. On top of that, he's the son of the late music producer Jim Dickinson, who produced a wide range of artists such as Big Star, The Replacements, and worked with the Stones at one point, I believe, or was involved with their recording of Sticky Fingers. But most importantly, Cody is the father of two kids. Now, before we get into this interview, I want to tell you about what happened the day we had this conversation. So usually I record during the week at night when both kids are asleep and my wife and I have some free time. This time, due to Cody's traveling schedule, he's on tour, was on tour at the time, with Dwayne Bett's band out on the West Coast in California. And so he couldn't record during the week. He only had some time on a Sunday at 9 a.m. local time in California, so 12 p.m. Eastern for me. And so that was a crazy time for my wife and I had my son down with me at the beginning. And before we started the interview, my son David met Cody virtually, and we were talking a little bit about our kids, and I had David with me at the beginning of the interview. So if you hear us mention David, or Cody at one point says, "Hey, what's David doing? Is he doing something?" It's like David was in the room while I was recording, and eventually I had to ask him to leave because it was just getting too much. But that was only part of the craziness of this interview. At the time, Cody was in a hotel room and his internet service was not great. And so on the Zoom call, there was a lot of breaking up and a lot of delay on both sides. And so we ended up talking over each other a lot. And so I had to do a lot of work, editing. And thankfully, Cody did a local record and we got a much better, cleaner track for about 98% of the interview. At the very end, when Cody is talking about the music he's listening to, and at the close, we end up having to go back to the Zoom file for his recording, and you'll hear at the very end, and I apologize about this, that the quality of audio just deteriorates. It's not his fault. It's not my fault. It's just, a circumstance of the situation, and we are dealing with it the best we can. But thankfully, for most of the conversation, there is some high-quality audio, and you'll hear him clearly. On top of all that, due to the time constraints and the issues with the audio, and my wife at the time was, we had something going on that I needed to get to, and we were running a little longer than I anticipated. We had to cut the conversation a little short, and we didn't get into some things that I wanted to get into. We didn't really get too deep into his music career with North Mississippi Allstars, with The Word, even with his band Hill Country Review. Along with his solo work. And we didn't really touch on at all, which I am, apologetic to him about, which is the Take Me to the River film series, which currently has two films, one on Memphis and one on New Orleans, and both of which I will say this at the end of the episode too, I can't stress enough, you should go check out. They are fantastic. So I just want to put all of that out there because he and I could have sat here and talked for about 2 to 3 hours, and we still wouldn't have gotten to all of it. And we didn't even talk about drumming, which is a shame. And, maybe this means that we should have him back at some point. We'll see. He's a very busy man. And but I am just eternally grateful for him coming onto the show. I had followed him on Instagram for a while, and out of the blue, he had followed back on Instagram. And so I was able to, reach out to him, and he was all about it, and he wanted to come on. So again, I'm so thankful that he wanted to be on this show, that we had this conversation. And, I think it's a great conversation, even if it doesn't hit on his career as much as I'd like to. We did talk a lot about his family, him as a father, his father, and I think that's, something that I don't do a good enough job with a lot of times with some of my guests who are somewhat well-known musicians. And so I'm so happy that we were able to talk about that at the beginning, even if we weren't able to get to his, fully talk about his career. So, without further ado, here is my conversation with Cody Dickinson. Cody, welcome to Dad Rocks.
Thank you so much, Josh. Thanks for having me, man.
This is an absolute pleasure. I'm a big fan of North Mississippi Allstars. The Word, obviously, people can't see it, but I'm wearing the Word shirt, which is, you can't find this shirt anywhere anymore.
That's awesome.
And, I love your drumming, and I'm a drummer. I've been drumming for over 30 years, so I love, your playing, man.
Thank you.
So I know right before we started that you said you were on tour with Dwayne Betts right now, and I know you just finished the North Mississippi tour. So how is all of the touring going?
It's been great, man. I'm on the West Coast now with Dwayne. This is day 4, and man, it is just so much fun playing. His new album is incredible, and I'm in Crystal Bay today.
Nice.
And I think we're headed to San Francisco tonight for Great American Music Hall.
Awesome. And the NMA tour, how did that go? I was debating going up to Tarrytown because I live in Jersey, and I was thinking about going up to the Tarrytown gig, but with 2 kids, it's hard to sometimes get out. But how did that tour go?
Let me see here. It was, let me look at the dates so I can remember. It was the East Coast run. Yeah. Oh, it was awesome, man. Yeah, it was, that's so funny, man. It's like work becomes such a focus where it's just like the present, and it's like where I've been and where I'm going is like nebulous, but it was beautiful. Every fall we try to do an East Coast run, and it was nice to get up to New York and in New Jersey,
Yeah. And, currently, I'm just curious with North Mississippi Allstars, because you guys I'll get to this later with Chris Chu not being in the band anymore. What's the lineup right now for that band?
So we it's been really, really fun. We're a core trio, we're back to the trio, and we've been playing with Ray Holloman from The Word. He's Robert Randolph's cousin, I guess, but he's just an incredible bass player and a slide player in his own right. He's really busy though. He plays with Neo. He's touring bass player for Neo. Guitar. He plays guitar in Neo, and he also plays with Eminem and like all kinds of people. So he's super busy. Amazingly talented guy. But we've also been touring with Joey Williams from the Blind Boys of Alabama.
Oh, wow.
And that's super fun. Joey's so talented. He's the guitarist and singer, and I'm pretty sure the MD of Blind Boys, But when he plays with us, he's mostly on bass, and but we switch up. So he gets on guitar. Sometimes he'll get on drums, I get on guitar. We do the switcheroo, we call it.
Nice.
What are you guys doing? What's going on?
Oh, my son's just being a nudge right now. Speaking of which, is
David playing?
He's just playing around right now. But do you take your kids on tour ever?
Oh man, thank you for asking. It's like, yes, yeah. We it's such a beautiful thing to be able to travel with them, and they're really good on the road. So my daughter, her name is Mavis, and she's 3. And my son, his name is Ozzy, and he's 1. And my lovely, beautiful wife is Michelle. So as I use these names, but Mavis is my daughter, and she's been on the road her whole life. And we even got to go to Spain. We took them to Spain, and they were so good on the flights and, the big international airports. Now, on the flight back from Spain, Michelle and I didn't realize that it was 10 hours. We didn't think about the jet stream.
Yeah, the time difference and stuff like that.
On your way back from Europe, it's quite a bit longer. And so that was tough. I mean, that was tough on me. It was hard on all of us. But yeah, they're amazing travelers, and I do get to take them on the road, but not as much as I would like to, Josh. I miss them so much, and I love them just so much. You know how it is. And like, being apart from them is hard. I think it's harder on me, honestly. You know, it's like they seem okay. You know, like I'll call them, and they'll be like, "Hey, where am?" You know. But then every once in a while, after I've been gone, say after about 6 days or a week or so, you know, my daughter will be like, "Where are you?" Like, and even my son, he's one. He'll look at the phone and he'll be like, "Dad," you know. It's like, so when I start to feel them missing me, it compounds even more. It gets very emotional, man. It's hard.
Yeah, I bet. And, you know, especially going from having a career of, you know, almost 30 years of touring without kids to now having kids, I'm sure that's been a bit of a change.
Yes, very much so, man. Yeah.
Are your kids interested in music? I mean, they're very young right now, obviously. And do they gravitate to the music? Do they respond to it?
Very much so. Yes, it's incredible, man. Like, David reminds me of my son Ozzy. Like when I'm working, especially like if I'm focusing on something, you know, that's when they really want to get in there. Like, no, let me do it. Like, come on, Dad, I can do this better than you, man. You know what I mean? Whether it be grabbing the computer but I mean, look, to say that they're interested in music would be an understatement. Like, I mean, when I'm playing drums, my son crawls and he's like, "No, drums, drums, drums," and he wants to get on my lap and like grab the drumsticks. On my Facebook profile, you can see a picture of him sitting on my lap, right? Like that's his happy place. You know what I mean? And he smiles so big. But recently, just the other day, I got him on my lap and he was still like upset. And I was like, "What's going on? Like what? Like this is it." He wanted me off the throne. He wanted me he wanted to sit on the kit and like play piano.
That's awesome.
So what we've been doing, man, we jam. Like my 1-year-old son gets on the drums and I get on the piano, and like every time I'm sorry to ramble, there's a lot to say about this, man. Like when he picks up the sticks, he holds them correctly. Like it's
That's
like
awesome.
I don't think he's definitely copying me or what. I mean, he's seen me do it, but there's something there that's just like embedded, like it's automatic, right? But he picks them up and he does flams, right? And then he does like this 3/4 thing, blah dot dot blah 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 blah, where both of my kids actually feel 3/4 naturally, which is incredible, you know. But anyway, to go back, so we jam. So I'll get on the piano, and he'll like do his flams, like he's keeping time, like blah blue blue, and I'll go boom 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 boom. It's like whenever he plays, I play. Right?
Yeah.
So he started to realize that's what I was doing, and we're jamming.
That's awesome.
It's like, so I'll hit like big piano chords. So it's almost like he's triggering me, you know, but ultimately, I mean, we're playing music. So like we have like musical conversations, and it's so fun. My daughter, she can get on the drums like nobody's business, man. But I don't know. She's just interested in other things right now, you know, so she'll play for a second and then run off to do something else. Mavis has been singing and dancing. Like she knows all the words to Barbie Girl, Barbie World, sorry. The new hit song. Yeah. But like she can do the rap and like she knows the choreography and stuff. Like, man, to be honest, it's getting kind of mind-blowing where I'm starting to think I might need to find them some sort of proper training or I don't know, you know, just let them figure it out themselves, or I don't know.
Cause so like David, he's 5, and he initially when he was really young, I thought he had I'd put him on the drums and he would like keep kind of time. Right. But then it's interesting because as he's gotten older, it's seemingly that he does not have that innate rhythm or the innate feel. But for a while he was like playing with instruments, and then for like a year he wasn't. Now he's like into listening to songs, making up his own songs, really gravitating to some certain, you know, tunes other than others. But the thing is, he doesn't like taking direction, especially from me. Yeah. Like, I'll try to show him something, and he does not want any part of that.
Exactly.
And then
well, they know,
yeah.
man, you know.
And then our younger son, who's 1 year old, yesterday I had him down in the basement. I was just playing while he was playing, I was playing drums, and he immediately crawled over, how you said your son does. But then he didn't want to take the sticks. He just wanted to sit in my lap while I was playing.
That's it.
So it'll be interesting to see how he develops and what his interests are. Because I the only thing other than playing drums is sometimes I'll break out a guitar, and I don't really play that much. I can strum some chords, but I'll play some music that they know and they listen to, like some Casper Baby Pants music. Or my son's lately been David's really been into the song "Shine on Me" by Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys. That's just a very cool.
Wow.
It's a very it's very reminiscent of. Do you know the song or no?
I'm not sure. I was going to ask what he listens to. I find that fascinating, what he gravitates towards.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because he'll for a while, I showed him the Yellow Submarine movie, and he was very much into that movie and just those songs from the Beatles and nothing else. He wanted to listen to Hey Bulldog 10 times in a row kind of deal.
What is it about the Beatles? So my niece is the same way, and my daughter and I have been singing Blackbird. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think no, go ahead. Because I think we're getting a delay. I think that's why we're talking over each other a little bit. I think what it comes down to is just that, they are they unlock the key of some sort of musical thing. Because I remember when I was 3, I gravitated to their music too. I think the melodies are just
right.
It's the melody. Nothing is super aggressive. It's kind of even though some of the content, obviously, as you get older, you understand it a little bit more, but it's all poppy. It's all easy to kind of, digest, other than some of the stuff on the White Album. But I don't know. I think it's kind of like a kid's universal language type deal that they're just good music. Are you planning to give them lessons, or are you going to kind of let them decide what they want to do? Are you going to try them out on piano? Because obviously you probably know a plethora of people who can teach them a bunch of stuff. So what is your plan moving forward?
That is a good question. I think my instinct is to just let them naturally develop, and definitely, obviously not force it on them, but keep music around, have the instruments around. They also love the technology of when I'm producing and recording. They're very interested in the computer, and we record songs. It's remarkable, man. So they have they have a small toy piano that has a microphone with an 1/8-inch input, and there's also an iPad input or something, or iPod, a second input there. So they'll unplug the microphone and put it in it's like a MPC player, right? And it won't work, but then they plug it in the right one. They're like, oh, it works, and they switch it on and off, and they get the microphone and they sing and they're playing piano. So man, what I've been doing is writing songs with them and just sort of incorporating what I do into their kind of day-to-day, playing. And so far it's working, but I think they might reach a point where they're gonna, where they could use some lessons, or I shouldn't say that, where they could benefit from some outside, coaching, right? But I gotta say that music is such a beautiful path. It's such a good journey in life. Drumming, man, it's you know how hard it is, and you get those gains. It's kind of like the gym or something. You put in, 30 minutes, an hour of practice every day. You start to see real results. And that kind of long-term gratification can be very beneficial for, I think, young people who are looking for a way to something to sink their teeth into. And I know it gave me focus. When I was young and my friends were crazy and doing really stupid stuff, I was pretty focused, and rocking in a against the cliche, in kind of a funny way. Rock and roll kept me on the straight and narrow, so I hope music can be that for them, a good anchor,
What's interesting is you mentioned that you're writing music with your kids, and I know your brother just.
Yes.
I think he's in the process of releasing a kids album, right?
Yeah.
Have your kids heard those tunes, and what do they think of their uncle's music?
Oh man, that's a sweet question. They have. I don't think they've heard Luther's family record yet, but they love their Uncle Luther and his family, and his daughters sing, and we co-host I don't know if that's the right word. We have a camp. It's called Roots Rock Revival that we started with Butch Trucks back in the day, that's a whole different story. Crazy experience for me, like Butch was one of my heroes, and getting to teach with him and learn from him firsthand for years was remarkable, man. And that camp is now in its 10th year, and it's just grown into something that's beyond, I think, any of our wildest dreams. But Roots Rock Revival is it's an amazing place for young kids people of all ages actually to get together and jam and study and really just take some deep dives in what they're passionate about with music. And that's where our kids Luther's kids and my kids get together and hang out and spend time. That week is a very special week for us. And so, yeah, they get to see it there.
Do you and your brother live close to each other?
Luther lives in Nashville, and I split my time between North Mississippi area. I have a house and a studio in South Haven, Mississippi, where I work and live with my family. But also we have an apartment. This is a luxury. This is so nice. But my in-laws, Michelle's parents run. They have apartments in Malvern, Arkansas, which is outside of Little Rock. So especially when I'm traveling, she stays there a lot because her folks are there to help her with the kids, and obviously I'm gone, and so we have that awesome support system. And man, it's nice to just be able to switch it up a little bit too. The kids enjoy it. They call our house in South Haven my cat. They call it my cat Meow. And they say, that's Now's house. We're going to Now's house,
Nice.
So, but I also work there. That's where my studio is.
Yeah. And just in general, to kind of wrap up the parenting portion of this, what's been the most challenging and also some of the most rewarding parts of being a father? I mean, it's only been a few years for you, but so far, what's been some of the most challenging and rewarding parts of that?
It is incredibly rewarding. It is absolutely, oh man, it just fills my heart with happiness and gives me focus and direction in life and, my purpose. And, they're just my everything, man. And I don't know what I can't imagine. I don't know. It took me like some time to, I guess, be prepared for it. But the Lord provides, and the time was right, and I met the right woman, and things just fell into place. And my wife is absolutely incredible. And man, I just I learned from them, and it's basically all the cliches that I've heard my whole life are true. Times 1,000 though. There's so much more that I don't know that I was unaware of. Like it's really just about the moment and being together with them and enjoying the small things in day-to-day life and seeing things through their eyes and the fresh perspectives and again, I learn from them, and it's like our relationships are different and like complicated, and like the whole dynamic of the family household is amazing. I didn't realize how lonely I was until I had a family. Being on tour and being a musician is a weird kind of instant gratification way to live your life. It's like you walk on stage and you have this constant affirmation, like, great drum solo or whatever, and that's great and amazing. But man, you walk off stage, you walk in your hotel room, and it looks like this. It's a little dark. It can be incredibly. Being a touring musician can be a very lonesome lifestyle. So finding, like, I guess domestic bliss, was something was totally unexpected for me. And but I shouldn't say that because it was intentional. Like, I mean, I planned it, but it was not forced, and I'm just so thankful for them, and they're so patient with me too, because I have to leave and work. And Michelle, my wife, she works, she schedules her whole life around that sometimes, and like just that empathy is incredible, and like her strength to be able to keep it going while I'm gone is remarkable, so like the benefits so greatly outweigh. I mean, there really there's nothing. The only sad thing about it is having to leave and being away from them, which is challenging. Like that is very difficult, and it's more of an emotional thing. It's just like I need them and they need me, and we just can't be together. It's basically like this. It's like if I had my way, I would be with my family all the time. You know what I mean? Like, but the world sort of, in circumstances, may it be a career or obligations or whatever, sort of separate us. And that's a bit unfair, and sad. It makes me sad, but so that's the only drawback, though, if it's even a drawback, because all that is me just missing them. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and my brother, he, he's in the EDM world. He travels on the weekends, cool. And like goes different places. And so his wife, is left with their 1-year-old, my nephew, a lot, and I know it's very stressful on her. And they live near my mom, so she comes around and helps out.
That's good.
But
that's good.
It's I don't know if I could do what he does, and he only is away sometimes for like a weekend, and then sometimes he'll travel out to another country for like a week. But I mean, I give you guys props. I know this is your job, and you've been doing this for decades, so this is like it's your mode of work. But at the same time, it's got to be stressful to just be away from your family for so long sometimes.
I think about quitting. I really do. I mean, I have to be honest, man. It's like I mean, my career is such a blessing and such a gift. I'm so thankful to be able to do what I do, because I do truly love it. Absolutely, But yeah, I think about quitting all the time. Like, I might quit right now, in fact. No. This tour in particular, so this is like a 10-day run with Dwayne, which is pretty normal, but that's about as long as I like. That's about my limit. The thing about this run, though, is I go home for the week of Thanksgiving. Then the day after Thanksgiving, I turn right back around and leave with the Almond Betts Family Revival Tour, which is incredible, and we can talk about that. I'm so honored to get to play that music with those guys, and they are my family too. I love Dwayne and Devin and Barry Oakley, all them guys, man. Like they have become my brothers and my family, which is so crazy because I just respect them and their families and their legacy so much. And but that Almond Betts Family Revival Tour is 3 weeks, so that will be by far the longest tour that I've been on since having a family. So I don't know if I'm going to go crazy. We'll see. Every day off, every day off on that run, I just go straight to the airport, fly home for 10, 12 hours, and turn right back around and go back, So that's basically my mentality, is like when I'm not working, I just go straight home. I call it the first thing smoking.
Nice. And then,
which is actually.
Go ahead.
What? No, go ahead.
I was going to ask if you.
Well, that's a beautiful.
Go ahead. Yeah, the delay is crushes.
What were you going to ask? No, please.
So I was just going to ask if your brother's on that tour too, if he's going to be on the Almond Betts, and if he is going to be doing the similar thing to going back to his family, like on those off days, and if in general, because I think his kids are a little older, if he's giving you any advice on how to deal with this kind of change in lifestyle.
Well, I can tell you that, that his kids are older, and that I don't want to talk about his business too much, especially his personal life. But I did just talk to him about, we had an offer for New Year's Eve, and it was a lot of money, and I was like, are you interested in this? And he was like, I can't do it. He's like, my daughters are going to crush me for being gone they're already so honestly, they're so pissed at him for being gone for 3 weeks leading up to Christmas. But I don't know what it's going to be. My kids, like you said, they're younger, so they're not so emotionally attached to the holidays. My daughter's just like, Santa's going to bring me a bicycle. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to have training wheels and a basket. And, I'm basically just, writing the list of toys I'll get her, so. But yeah, Luther's incredibly helpful with good advice. And he's also not over the top with telling me what to do and stuff. He lets me make my own mistakes. But I do want to tell you, man, that so I've written a whole album about what we're talking about, which is it's the album is called Homemade, and I'm releasing it next year in June. And I'm so thrilled to announce you're getting an exclusive here, man. I got signed to Petaluma,
okay,
which it's an incredible record company, and I love them so much. I'm really enjoying working with them, and they believe in this record, and it's all about what we're talking about, which is being having a family and being a musician. And the flagship, the cornerstone song is called "Goodbye Albuquerque Tuesday Night," and what that song is about is not doing bad shows and not I'm not gonna nothing against Albuquerque. I love the beautiful city, but it's just the idea that the hook is I'm going home on the first thing smoking, which is the way I describe my travel routine. When I'm on tour, it's like as soon as I can get home, I leave. So I catch the first flight and this song, it's so Goodbye Albuquerque Tuesday Night, it became sort of an anthem for me where I just realized that I was on the path to making a full-length album and where it was going to take me. And it's just all about, it's about growing up, and priorities changing and shifting and figuring out what's important and what matters to me, and it's my family, so exciting news, man. The album is going to come out in June. It's called Homemade on Petaluma Records, and my first single is gonna release this month, November 28th. It's called All Night Long, and we got a music video. It's going to drop at the same time as the single, so please, everybody, go check it out and enjoy.
I'm excited. This I'm going to be honest. This episode probably won't be released until that time, just because I do all the editing and stuff, and I got other stuff going on. But it's
good. But no, let it. But then it'll still be out at that point. And so when you're hearing this, please jump over to YouTube, spin the video.
Definitely.
I guess Spotify matters. Go to Spotify, listen to the tune. You know what I'm saying? It's the Junior Kimbrough classic. It's a song I've been singing for years, all night long.
Nice.
But I just sort of recently found my voice, for lack of a better term. It's like I've been working on my singing, and I was able to sort of just figure out how to be more open with my vocal delivery, and all night long, it's a different side of me as an artist, that no one's seen before. So I'm just really excited to get that out there.
Awesome.
She said, I do, baby.
You are one of two sons of the late producer Jim Dickinson, who was incredibly influential in the Memphis world. So what was it like to have him as a father? What kind of influences did he have on your music tastes? And that kind of, I can't even imagine having such a someone like that with such a brain and a mindset and just being open to so much stuff.
Man.
Basically, what kind of influence did he have on you?
Man, those are great questions. He was it was amazing having Jim as a father. He was so, like you said, he was incredibly intelligent and a wonderful storyteller and such a talented, just piano player, singer, producer. It was, and what kind of influence did he have on me, man? It was it was the thing where it was his taste was incredible, and like as a kid, like growing up around that, it took me a long time to figure out what he did exactly, and like, and the level, the depth of his knowledge and his impact on the music world and stuff. Like he was an underground guy, it was like, but he was, at the same time, he was so influential in a lot of ways, and oh man, he was a very loving father. He was he took his family. He was a family man. When I know that when Luther was born, he just stopped working for about a year and a half, and just focused on his family. He didn't tour as much. It was great because he was more of a studio cat. He was when I was young, he was doing a lot of rhythm section work, and then in the 80s, he when I was like in my early teens or whatever, or even younger than that, he was doing a lot of soundtracks in Los Angeles, working with like Ry Cooder and Jim Keltner, and like just some incredible musicians. So they toured a little bit, but he was mostly doing he did an incredible list of soundtrack work. And then after that, he kind of transitioned. His production career had a massive resurgence, and he started producing, all kinds of bands, to the point where he was working with artists that as a kid that I was a fan of, like Spiritualized or Spin Doctors, like stuff like that. And so getting to just through osmosis being exposed to that incredible music, especially like Jim Keltner and like that just Zen drumming, he's just still a master, right? And like that's the kind of stuff I was hearing when I was a kid. So I didn't even at the time. Well, I don't know. I knew how great it was. I would be blown away. He would come home with cassettes of what he was working on, or maybe it was a live recording of a tour, and I would just be floored. And of course, it was so over my head musically, but at the same time, I was being exposed to it. So it was, what an incredible learning experience, One more thing about Jim is that it's like I could say that he had everything to do with my career, and I could also say he had nothing to do with my career, because it's like he very much let us make our own mistakes, and he let us do our thing. And his thing was like, rock and roll is not a music that is taught, but at that being said, he created a home for us where I could learn and study and sort of follow my own dreams, and he was so supportive in that way, but like that being said, like Shake Hands with Shorty, the first All-Star record, we produced that. Like that was self-produced. And that's one of the biggest gifts he could have given us, because it was like, if he'd have gone in with a heavy hand and been like, oh no, it's going to be like this, it wouldn't have had the magic that it had, and we wouldn't have done what we did. So he was very wise in that way.
Yeah. To be honest, like I didn't know, I heard the name, but it wasn't until I got really into Big Star in the mid 2000s, and then saw his portion of that documentary that and his work on Third, that kind of opened my eyes to what kind of producer he was, to have that mentality into working with Alex Chilton and to produce that album, and to be so loose and kind of open to all of these different ideas. It's kind of amazing. He kind of let the artist do his work and kind of just guide him and kind of keep him within the boundaries in some aspects.
Man, Josh, thank you, man. That is an incredibly just thoughtful point, and man, I appreciate that, and agreed. Like those guys, they were so far ahead of their time. Especially Big Star Third, and you said it, man. He gave the artist the liberty and the freedom to be themselves, and he was very much the champion of the artist. He saw it. It was a different time. He grew up. I grew up watching him in an industry that's kind of gone away, frankly. It's like the music business is now so different than it was then. Just in terms of rhythm sections, and the process of recording an album was totally different, but Big Star third. Hey, here's my wife, and I'm gonna take it, man. Okay.
Okay, do it.
Josh, I'm gonna take it. Hey, hopefully she'll be able to hear us. Hang on. Babe. Hey, I'm live. I'm doing. No. Hey. Oh, you can't hear. Oh, she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Bye. She hung up anyway. I was hoping. Dang it! I was hoping that would work. I was like, this is gonna be perfect, man.
No worries.
Yeah. So my wife is, she's there on a little road trip there in Huntsville, Alabama, where she has a lot of friends, and she has the kids there, and so they're visiting with her friends' kids, and I know they're having a great time,
Nice.
but I'm also worried about it. I want to make sure they're okay and everything. Everything's fine, otherwise she would have said. But that right there is what it's like being a father and a husband on tour, and it's like your priorities are different, man. It's like, it's like Big Star Third is a great album. My dad was a legend. Alex Chilton is incredible. This interview is important, but my wife is calling, man. I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? It's wild.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, so that I would say Big Star Third was the first. I would say it was deconstruction. It was like musical. God, what's the word? It was like
decomposition. I think that's
decomposition. You read my mind, dude. Thank you. I was having a moment. Decomposition. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And they might have been the first to do that, especially in such a beautiful, grandiose fashion. My goodness. What a beautiful record.
Yeah.
Decomposition.
It is. I know you were born in Memphis, but you obviously you guys moved to North Mississippi.
Right.
What was the impetus for that move? And how did that change you? I mean, what age were you when you made that move? Because to go from a city with such a vibrant music community to then going to an area with a totally different vibrant music community.
Totally.
How does so when did that happen? Why did that happen? And what kind of effect did it have on you?
Man, these are excellent questions. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Matt. So it perfectly connects with what we're talking about. So I was saying I was being exposed to this incredible artistry with my father, Jim Dickinson, right? Well, at the same and frankly, unaware of how brilliant and how truly what a massive gift it was. You know what I mean? Like how unusual it was to be exposed to that. So I took it for granted a little bit, you could say. You know what I mean? But in a healthy way. It was like I didn't take it too seriously. But anyway, the same thing happened to me in North Mississippi. Like when we wound up in North Mississippi, I mean, R.L. Burnside's family, it was right, literally the next town over. And Junior Kimbrough's juke joint, nightclub where we would hang out on Sunday nights. It was in between Independence and Holly Springs, Mississippi, which is where our parents' place was, and we still have a little studio down there called Zebra Ranch. But I was just hanging on Sunday. There was nothing else to do, man. So we would go down there, and I would walk in, and it would be Junior Kimbrough with his son David Kimbrough and Kent Kimbrough on guitar and bass, and Kent Kimbrough on drums, and RL's hanging out. Like he's not even playing, he's hanging out. And then Gary Burnside, RL's youngest son, is playing bass, and we're the same age. And so Gary Burnside is playing bass with Junior Kimbrough. So he not only is R.L. Burnside's youngest son, but he's also Junior's bass player. And the guy is like a walking encyclopedia of hill country blues, like to this day. This is Cedric Burnside's uncle, right? And of course, Cedric is drumming with and then R.L. would get on stage with Kenny Brown, and then they would go open for, John Spencer and the Beastie Boys for 10,000 people at Lollapalooza or whatever, just crushing the game. It was remarkable, man, just to see. So I was just exposed to this incredible music, and I got to be around Junior. I talked to him a few times. RL and I became friends, but really it was his sons that I became fast friends with. Dwayne Burnside went on to join the Allstars, and and we ran together. We ran for 10 years, man. You know what I mean? And that was just such a remarkable experience. But to answer your question, man, what sparked the move is a really good question. I'm not exactly sure. I could. What was going on with us at the time was, let's see. I remember I was about 10 years old. I was in 5th grade, which was sort of the perfect age musically because I had just gotten my full-size drum kit. I was just starting to really play for real on the drums, and we moved to Mississippi. And man, God bless them. I was the DeSoto County public school system put me in marching band. You know, taught me my rudiments, man. Taught me how to read music. We had a little concert band. We would do a spring concert. You know, fall concert. And I was also I was the drum captain in marching band. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, I was learning all my rudiments, and at that age where I was just starting to really get serious about the kit. So that was great timing, and plus that's where we met Chris Chu. I went to school with Chris. It wasn't until later that we got in a band together, which is totally weird when you think about it. Chris was a star athlete at school. Like his class, I don't think they ever lost a game. They were just one of those win grades, you know, classes or whatever.
He has the frame to be, well, I guess in his younger days, he was what, like 6'6"? And
they were smashing fools. I pity him, man. They were smashing fools. But yeah, but Chris and I did actually jam together. We played, this is a weird memory, man. I was producing hip hop at the time. I guess at this point I was maybe a freshman in high school, but I was producing a lot of hip hop and hanging out, and we played, somebody asked us to play the homecoming dance, right? So this is me and Luther, some of my rap friends, and Chris Chu played the game and then came up and sang Dark End of the Street with us. The Dan Penn, classic. And man, if you'd have asked me then, if like 10 years later I'd be traveling the world with Chris, I would have never in a million years known that, you know. But we did play music together at a young age, and but anyway, man, what I remember my parents asking us where we wanted to move, and Mississippi, they chose Mississippi because of the school system. There was a really, DeSoto County had a real, I know it's not known for that, obviously, but but it had a good school system for us, and we moved around a few times until we wound up in the house where my grandmother moved in with us. Basically what happened was my father's father passed away. They lived in Memphis, and they sold their house in Memphis, and my grandmother moved in with me. So my grandmother, Martha Huddleston was her name, she Dickinson, and she was a Baptist piano player. She played piano in church for like 20 years, right? And she just had that classic Southern Baptist style with the heavy left hand, and you could see where my dad's influences came from, but they were very different. She read music and was trained, and he didn't, you know. But my grandmother, I called her Ann, but Martha, she lived. We had a hallway that we shared, and it was a nice house. We had it was about a 2.5-story house. Here in Mississippi, where we lived together, and kind of like our little our wing of the house, she was across the hall, so I got to know her quite well. But the funny thing about it is that under her room was our practice room or whatever, that my dad, bless his soul, man, I think he spent all the money he got from a replacements royalty check soundproofing this room with these burlap sacks. It was like the dustiest, nastiest asbestos crap, but it was soundproof enough where we could jam and the cops wouldn't come and whatever. But my grandmother's room was right over there, so we're like teenagers going crazy, doing stupid stuff, playing crazy rock and roll, and we come upstairs and she'd be like, "Y'all just don't sound so good today. I don't know what's wrong, but something's missing."
Yeah.
So that was it. That was kind of the dynamic, you know.
Nice. Did you and your brother always play music together?
Yeah.
And did you? Because I know, he's. I was going to ask this. Mention this later, but bringing it up now. Your brother has mentioned. I forget where. Maybe it was at a gig that I was at. That you're like the better guitar player. Of the
absolutely.
Two. I don't know.
That's true.
But like, how did you choose? Like, have you always played music together? Was it and how did you choose the instruments that you played? Because you play a bunch of instruments.
Yeah.
And your brother focuses mainly on the guitar, but like, was it just that his focus was so much on the guitar and you had to find something else to play?
Yes, exactly. And obviously, I kid. Luther is one of the best guitar players of all time. He is remarkable. Luther, like, man, he just doesn't make mistakes. Like, I've played music with this guy for, a quarter of a century now. And it's weird, man. Like, it's like he does what he does, and he is an absolute genius at that. He's brilliant at his thing. But man, he is just, I wouldn't say like flawless, but man, I've seen him make very few mistakes on the guitar. Maybe like forget some lyrics, or like if anything, it's like a song thing. It's not like this. Like he plays the way he talks and thinks. I mean, it just flows out of that dude. But like just in terms of like but no, that was the dynamic. Yeah, it was like he was on guitar. And it's funny he says that I'm a better guitar player. That's so nice.
I don't know when he's. I just remember him saying that at some point.
He jokingly says that, and I think what he means is that my dad would always kind of give him grief about like your brother's got the natural talent, you got to work for it, And I use that voice, but that's the way my dad talked. He was like, "You're dragging," on the drums. He'd yell at me. He had an old Sun amplifier with this mic. He'd be like, "You're dragging," like, man, he was so intense, dude. Like, I mean, his way of communicating was heavy, bro. But like, but Luther, yeah, he was like, what it was, man, is that we both kind of started on guitars as kids, really little, right? And then around the age of like when I got on the kit, when I was saying I was about 10, I kind of. I moved to the drums. I would say my main instrument is piano. Like if I sit down to write or if I have to learn a song, I'll gravitate towards piano. But I pretty much equally play guitar, piano, bass, and drums and vocals. Kind of your core rock and roll instruments. I want to learn a wind instrument. I don't play a wind instrument. I would love to, but it's just, to me, it's a different language. Like I never went there. I didn't have time. But and it's nice. I'm sort of digressing, but as a multi-instrumentalist, it's nice to switch it up. I find like now I'm kind of in a guitar phase. I have this little. On the road, I buy these little guitars, like just the affordable little things, and I just sit here and like run finger exercises in the downtime because like I spend 5 hours in a van. So like today, I'll just sit there and study pentatonic shapes, And of course, I'm riding with Dwayne Betts and Johnny Saxon. They're like, "Dude, will you lay off the noodling?" You know what I'm saying? Drive those guys crazy. God, I'm truly digressing, but man, I am absolutely so just blessed to play with these fantastic musicians, man. I mean, you think about it, and then like your shirt, like the word, like, I mean, jamming with Robert Randolph and John Medeski, it's insane, dude. I mean, those guys are like, they are absolute geniuses, or I don't know if that's a word, they're just brilliant at what they do, and like it's kind of like if you're a baller, like getting on the court, and like I'm gonna go play with LeBron James or whatever, it's that kind of it's that kind of gift, man, But anyway, what happened with me and Luther was I was about 10 and he was 14 or whatever, so he was progressing on the guitar way faster than I was. He just left me in the dust, like in that sort of age difference. It's just like he had Guitar Player magazine, and he was like, his theory is off the charts too, man. That dude, like, he knows what he's playing, and he knows the language and everything, and he's always been that way. And at that time, I just kind of jumped to the drums by default. You know what I mean? It was just like, it was a chance for us to jam. It was a way that we could play together, so kind of just, I just jumped on the drums. I can remember the first, I think it was Honky Tonk Women, man, was like one of the first songs we played when I got my kit, and I was 11 and he was 14.
Gotcha.
You know.
So what were you listening to? Because I feel like because you're what, like 45 right now?
Yes. Yeah. No,
Yeah, so
older than that,
about,
man. 47. Or I can't remember.
sorry.
Man. I'm old, bro.
It's okay. I'm 40, so you know you're a bit older than me, but like probably we listen. You know, what were you listening to growing up that was influencing you at the time? Because you know that was the height of grunge and alternative rock, but I don't know what was being played. I mean, obviously you said you were listening to hip hop, which is that's a great era, the early '90s hip hop stuff. So what were you know, what was influencing you, and what were you listening to as a teen?
Well, you know, that kind of goes, again, really good question. That goes back to like what I was talking about with my dad, because he was, Jim Dickinson was such a, he was like an underground king, man, you know, so I was exposed to like the Cramps and like, you know what I mean? Like incredible, like Panther Burns or like some Memphis, like the underground of the underground of the underground, you know, and some of that music is very avant-garde and, you know, hard to digest, frankly, if, you know, if I don't know if that's the right way to put it. It was, it's an acquired taste, you know, it's like advanced stuff and not just musically, like culturally and stuff, you know, it's like understanding the context of where that was coming from was completely alien to me as a kid. So I gravitated towards like pop music, man. I liked, you know, like during the grunge era, I loved, Nirvana, Oasis. I love British rock. I really, really liked Oasis during the 90s and that kind of stuff, you know, which led me to like Spiritualized and sort of more the experimental acid rock. And, but also like during, I mean, man, when you look at that time that we grew up in, there was such a just explosion of talent. I mean, you think about it, like Soundgarden, Nirvana, Mudhoney, of course, Pearl Jam. It's just crazy when you think about that little pocket, right? But then you've got MTV. So you've got, you know, you've got all, it was just like, man, I just feel like we grew up in, it was almost like a renaissance of like this, of like, counterculture, not counterculture, but it was just like, it was kids, man, you know what I mean? Like our generation really had a voice, you know, and like something to say, and just the smash in the face of grunge to like 80s hair metal was hilarious. Like you look back on that culturally, I mean, like what a killer palate cleanser, you know what I mean? Like what a remarkable thing to happen all through word of mouth. You know, flyers, like, you know, getting your flyers on the, you know, going through and like going to other people's gig and giving out your tape or like whatever, however it happened, these scenes, these pockets like exploded, you know, and all that was super influential to me. But before that in the 80s, like I loved the heavy metal, man. I loved like right now I'm in basically like Lake Tahoe, right, area. And that's where the great David Coverdale lives, man. Come on. He's probably like right down the street. Like I loved Whitesnake, you know, like that kind of stuff, like really slick, well-produced, like heavy metal, right? Like really liked Whitesnake. Like I loved this fast guitar playing and that kind of stuff. Motley Crue before that. So like when we were kids, like my brother would be listening to like Black Flag and the Descendants and like, you know, the sub, like the whole sub pop thing and like the whole, like the DC straight edge. Like, I mean, he was really into punk rock and I was listening to, you know, Michael Jackson or you know, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like just sort of, I liked slick music, you know. I don't know if that's the right word. I like produce. No,
well, you like the top 40 or whatever was on the radio.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we eventually, like when the day came for us to sort of join forces musically, that's kind of what I brought to the table, was sort of like almost like a modern sensibility. Like for example, "Shake 'Em On Down," which is kind of one of our key songs. Like it definitely got us in the races and, you know, helped get us off the ground as a band. I'm playing a 311 beat. That's Chad Sexton, man. I mean, I could probably find the exact song. It's probably off of Grassroots. their second record that I stole that beat from, but I put it on top of Fred McDowell, which is what my brother was bringing. He's bringing some Mississippi Fred McDowell, very, very like authentic blues slide guitar, and I'm like, here, let me play, some Rage Against the Machine on top of it or whatever, like that was part of our formula.
Yeah.
Want to shake him a little bit?
See my baby, no mama, standing around. Somewhere, baby, no mama, shake 'em on down. No, I'm a star. Lord, I'm a shake 'em down.
So how did, you're saying that these are basically these two worlds are colliding with North Mississippi Allstars.
Yeah.
How, was that a conscious thing of like, we're going to play hill country music, or we're going to play we're going to be a blues band, but we're going to be
right.
Like, was it a natural thing? You just started playing together and that's what came out? Or was it like, this is what we're going to go for?
That was it.
Okay.
It was totally natural. Yeah, that's it, man. It was like, I don't think we could have even planned it if we tried, like we weren't that clever. Like even when we started to break, like we didn't know, to this day, I still don't really fully understand what people like about our band. And especially in the moment when it's happening, when you're a young artist, like you don't know why people are gravitating towards your music. You're just doing it, And during that time, like when we made our first North Mississippi Allstars album, which became Shake Hands with Shorty, we were gigging, man. We were just like, we were out playing gigs and like just trying to make a living and, like living in a trailer back behind our parents' place in in a field in Mississippi, man. And like, I remember, but we started to sell stuff out. Like I was playing Vicksburg, Mississippi outside of Jackson. And this dude, Dale, man, a friend of Dale, like if you're hearing this, I love you, man. Dale came up to me. He's like, so when are you going to do a CD? You talking about the Allstars? I was like, we hadn't even thought about it. Like it wasn't even on our radar, dude. So we went in to make that music, and that was just like in Shake 'Em On Down, you can hear a drum sample. Like I drop a one hit sample. It's like boom, boom, ba, boom, boom. This crazy kind of outside textural drum sound comes in, and that's from a frat house and like some frat gig we had played the night before. I want to say it was maybe Ole Miss or University of Alabama or something, but we were doing like a SEC sort of circuit and kind of just, working and just trying to make money. And, but so what I'm saying is that was just like dropping samples and like, and that loop, the drum loop that you hear on Shake 'Em On Down is a one-shot sample. Like it was a drum machine. Like we didn't even have Pro Tools, man. This was before all that. I was like pressing a button to a click track. It was like so homemade, So man, it was a natural evolution of like what we were doing and like what we were around, It was a very special time. We were part. Talk about standing on the shoulders of giants. Like we were just a part of something much bigger that was happening all around us,
Yeah. You guys were so, you said like you were jamming literally with Junior Kimbrough. You R.L. Burnside, you played a ton of his music, recorded a ton of it. You did the Hill Country Review album. He's on that playing live with you guys. So my question is, how did you guys feel about when the Black Keys put out their album a couple of years ago, or did you have any thoughts about them putting out an R.L. Burnside album? And I know they did a Junior Kimbrough album earlier. What were your feelings about, did you feel like that it was a good thing, or were you just like, oh man, that's kind of like our thing, why are they taking it, kind of taking it away? Or was it just like, let's celebrate this kind of music?
So that goes, man, that perfectly ties in with what I was saying, is that like, we were just making the music that we made. And like, if you go and listen to the Allstars albums, like our whole catalog, it's all over the place, man. Like we start with Hill Country Blues, but we get into folk and into, I do some of my Brit rock. And like, it's a bit of a smorgasbord. It's like a mess. Like, honestly, it's like conceptually, we didn't know that it was the rawness of the hill country blues that people love so much. And like bands like the Black Keys and say the White Stripes and like they came in and they were doing the same thing and doing it really well and having a lot of success with it. So I'm super happy for them, man. And it's not like I don't feel slighted or like and if they did like hear us or see us and that inspired them to do it as well, that's great, man. Like that makes me happy. Like it makes me proud. You know, I don't think they took our place or took anything that was ours, so to speak. Like it was just like if anything, I stole it from somebody else. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
as R.L. Burnside would say, it takes a crook to know a crook.
So how's Chris Chu doing? Because I know he left the band because of health issues.
Yes, yeah, it was, man, that was a sad period of time. It's I love Chris so much. I miss playing with him, man. It was like, you know, that chemistry that the chemistry of a band is really what makes it pop, you know, and the three of us is that was the core lineup. That's what we were doing when it took off, and that still to this day, there's something special that happens when we play together. You know, but man, it was a combination of things. It was, his health was bad, but he had already kind of started driving tour buses full time at that point. And it was more of it had to do with, he wanted to work all the time. Like Chris is a very he's just a business oriented person, you know, and he likes to work, which I respect a lot. But it's like if we weren't on the road, he basically wanted to be working like full time, and that can be hard for a band because you need to take little breathers here and there. So we would take breaks, and he would drive tour buses, and which is funny because it's like it reached a point where he was driving our tour bus. And he became as much the driver as he was a musician, if not both, you know, and now he drives full time, and I think he loves it, you know. I talk to him from, you know, now and again, but we ask him to play, but normally he's too busy. Like he has stuff he's doing, and you know, and he makes great money. I mean, he drives for like Dead and Company or Justin Bieber. It's like the biggest tours is what he's doing. So we're kind of small. You know,
small potatoes,
small time, small potatoes for Chris Chu at this point, you know, so it's just, man, life goes on. You know how it is, man. We had a great run. I wish it had lasted longer. The band has definitely not been the same without him. But that being said, playing with Joey Williams, like what we're doing now is as close to, if not as good, or I mean, it's different. It's like as close to what we were doing then as it ever has been. If not more so, because Joey has the gospel. He comes from the Blind Boys of Alabama. And so, he has the gospel roots and sensibility. So that's our secret juice, man, is basically hill country blues, gospel infused, bass energy, and modern hip hop drums. And there you have the Allstars.
Last question. I always ask every guest at the end of each show, what are you listening to lately? What are 2 or 3 artists, 3 albums that you've been listening to that you want to, have listeners check out?
Okay, so I want to make sure I say this right. There is this French band called Slift.
It's not Slift, is it?
Yo, Slift. S-L-I-F-T.
Yeah.
It's a stoner rock trio from France. They did this, live on KEXP. It's a great online series. It's right here. This band. Killer, man. Like I just found them, but I absolutely love it. To 1975. And this is a perfect answer, man, because it's like, it's the British rock that I like.
And I just feel like, they kind of started as more of like, say, kind of a pop band or whatever, but they got a great drummer, a killer producer in his own right. And the singer, man, he's just, I just think that after it's that 10,000 hours thing, man. It's like after you've done it for long enough, like, they've been on the road for 10 years, whatever. They just have kind of reached a new echelon. I just feel they're kind of entering into that stage where they're like great. It's like you can be good, but it's like that singer is really something special. And I just feel like that I just think they're killer, man.
In case you didn't notice, I like it. I would go blind just to see you. Going too far just to have you near.
But that leads me back to this whole huge 80s kick I've been on, which is like Huey Lewis. And man, I go back and watch some of that live footage of Huey Lewis when they were at their peak. Just killer, man. You know what I mean? So I'm super nostalgic about the 80s, But yeah, I would say the 1975 and let me say this band again. Y'all gotta go check it out. Yes, killer, man. I'm always inspired by music, man. It's like there's always new stuff. There's this artist named Caroline Polachek. She's super, like, it's kind of artsy pop,
Like I'm counting the days, but it's been 25. You're up there killing the game, but damn, I miss you tonight. And I'm out at a party that solid bright.
But like I'm just always blown away that like I feel like now we're currently in a renaissance too of sort of an explosion of just incredible talent. Like I feel like we're gonna look back at this time with the internet and I'm not just the internet, but like with social media and like Instagram and like this. I just feel like there's such a focus on artistry now, and people have the facility to get their music out. And it's like, if you want to make a record, you can do it on your iPhone. Dude, I've been producing, to talk about Taking to the River just a little bit. I've been working with Bo Dallas, Big Chief Bo Dallas from the Wild Magnolias, and he's this absolute superstar. I'm working with him right now, writing songs for an album that's being recorded. It's so far in the future, but he and I wrote 3 songs with voice memos on iPhone. Like they'll say like, what you can do with the thing is incredible, man. And it's like I can make albums on this like all day long. Like I'm literally constructing new compositions all the time, like on my phone. So I just feel like we're just entered this new age of creativity. It's very inspiring.
Yeah. Well, Cody, thank you so much for being on the show. This was an absolute pleasure for me to talk to you. I wish we had more time to dive deeper into a lot more stuff.
Hey, man.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, Josh. I can't wait to see the episode.
Thanks for listening to this episode, and special thanks again to Cody Dickinson for coming on to the show. You can find all of Cody's music, whether with North Mississippi Allstars, The Word, Hill Country Review, or his solo work, on all major streaming services. We'll also include a link to the YouTube video for his latest release, All Night Long, in the episode description. You can follow Cody on social media, on Instagram at Cody Dickinson, and on Facebook by just searching up Cody Dickinson. You can also find North Mississippi Allstars and The Word on both Instagram and Facebook. And you can always go to nmallstars.com to find out more about the North Mississippi Allstars and their upcoming tour dates. If you want to know more information about the film series Take Me to the River, which Cody co-created, you can go to takemetotheriver.org. The films are streaming on various platforms, though some do have ads, but I highly recommend you watch them anyway, especially if you're into music from Memphis and New Orleans. I'm really disappointed we did not get a chance to talk about these films, because not only do they have some great music, but they are really educational and informative about the history of the music scenes in those two cities. If you enjoyed what you heard, I would really love for you to subscribe to the show and would appreciate it if you left an honest review, or, just tell a friend or two about the show. If you'd like to follow us on social media, we're on Instagram, Threads, and the app formerly known as Twitter at Dad Rocks Pod, as well as on Facebook by just searching up Dad Rocks Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or any show ideas for us, or just want to give us a shout, you can email us at dadrockspod@gmail.com. If you want to check out the music you've heard on this episode in full, there will be a playlist which should be linked in the podcast description. Once again, thanks for listening today. And remember, dads, you rock.